Mark mentioned before Donald Trump ever sat down in court today, where prosecutors have accused him of trying to interfere in his first presidential election, the ex-president gave an interview about this year's election in which he refused to commit to accepting the results of the 2024 election in Wisconsin. Only, quote, if everything's honest, sowing doubt before he's even officially nominated as the GOP nominee. Trump telling the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel he still thinks he won Wisconsin in the last election, 2020, despite any evidence, after he tried to disqualify hundreds of thousands of votes there. He also dismissed a question about whether he even accepts two recounts that he paid millions of dollars to conduct. We're back with Mark, Sue, Andrew, and Charles. I know that games of relativity are dangerous when it comes to Trump, but what are you seeing as markers of his anti-democratic sort of election denialism on the calendar as compared to 2020?
Yeah, so look, in 2020, I litigated hundreds of cases before the election, after the election, making sure people could vote by mail, the 60 cases after the election. By the way, the evidence that he lost in Wisconsin is that court after court after court said that he lost in Wisconsin. He did a recount in Wisconsin and lost. He did two recounts in Georgia and lost. He lost. Okay. What we are seeing this year, as we are looking at this litigation calendar, is much, much more litigation by Republicans, the RNC, and his supporters to attack the mechanics and the machinery of elections. What do I mean by that? You can attack voters and you can make it harder to vote, and certainly they're trying to do that. But they are also, we are seeing more litigation earlier on that are going at how votes are going to be counted, how elections are going to be run. In Arizona, there are 3 lawsuits to throw out what's called the Election Procedure Manual, which is literally just the rule book of how you open the polls, close the polls, and count ballots in between. Like, they literally want chaos by throwing out the rule book. We have seen 3 lawsuits in the last month by Republicans and their allies to try to strike down laws to allow harassment of election officials.
Wait. To eliminate the laws that protect them?
Correct.
It's like so Trumpian. It's like
I just want everyone to hear this. I want everyone to hear this clearly.
So to get rid of the laws that protect election workers.
Correct. They believe.
What is the legal argument?
They
for
believe
that?
They have a First Amendment right to harass and intimidate election officials. And these are lawsuits that have been filed in Arizona, in Minnesota, and in Nevada. Now, the Nevada one has already been dismissed. I expect they will lose in the other 2 states. But, you know, the LA Times just did a big profile on a group that wants to sow chaos by bringing lawsuits throughout the country under another fringe theory. We saw the Supreme Court last term, not this term, but last term, deal with the fringe independent state legislature theory, which would literally divest state courts of being able to apply their own state constitutions. Well, guess what? The Pennsylvania Republicans have now brought another ISL challenge that they are seeking to get back before the U.S. Supreme Court.
What is the end game? Is it so that on Election Day there is no winner?
Yeah. So I think that they know the following things. They know that there is no chance that Donald Trump will win a majority of the popular vote. He lost to Hillary Clinton by 3 million votes, Joe Biden by 7 million votes. Let's just extrapolate out and say in 2024 it's 10 million votes. So they are running out of runway to win the persuasion game. They have run out of runway to win the turnout game. So at this point, what they want to do is create categories of doubt. They want to say there's 60,000 ballots here that should have been purged. There's 20,000 ballots there that were counted irregularly. These 10,000 should have been hand counted, so that when the election is over, they have more to work with. You know, after 2020, what they had to work with was mythical creatures, sea creatures called Kraken, and dead Hugo Chavez conspiracies.
And Rudy's hair dye.
What they want to do in all of this stuff is say, look, we had a First Amendment right. We brought a First Amendment challenge. It was lost. And as a result, it's all being rigged behind the scenes. They want to say that, you know, we brought purge lawsuits and voter challenge lawsuits, and those didn't win, but we know who those voters are that shouldn't have been allowed to vote. And that is what we are facing as we head towards this November. And it's not disconnected to what we see in the courtroom in New York, because it is all premised on the idea that Donald Trump can sell to enough Republicans, not just the grassroots, but Republican elites, the senators, the members of Congress, the governors, that somehow he is the victim here, that somehow he is the one being wronged. And so in that respect, this criminal case is very important to him, because it is a road test of how can I violate court orders? How can I attack jurors? How can I attack witnesses? How can I show disregard for the legal process now so that when we get to the election game, when he then wants to show disregard to the legal system, there is already an aggrievement built up.
Well, and it's why he's gone to war and gone to the Supreme Court and found so far an assist in the delay part of that. Why he doesn't want to stand trial for the federal crimes that have been charged.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd say one way to connect even more what's going on in court to the larger themes that you just articulated is anti-democracy, which is the theme, the true theme of the New York case. Obviously, it's true of the federal case if we ever get a trial, but that is what this case is about. When people were saying, oh, it's a hush money case, but maybe we should call it election interference, the one really great thing about David Peckers, as horrible as he is as a person, and what he had to say is that was about being an anti-democratic sort of disdain for the electorate. That they can be fooled into voting. And the other is the sort of the reason that Donald Trump wants to be as far away from actually having a trial. The trials may help him in being indicted, but the reason he doesn't want a trial is the idea that facts do not matter. This is like you can be in your own, sort of Star Wars bar, and you never actually need to look in a mirror. But that is what the trial is. The trial is a mirror to looking at the actual facts.
Reality. Marco.